right when I started today's stream, people were already talking about this. And another thing in regards to Emilia Pérez. So for those that don't know, I saw Emilia Pérez a couple of weeks ago after its, Golden Globes sweep, winning all these major awards. I knew nothing about the movie. I think like a lot of people. Last couple of weeks, and I said, well, I won all these awards. Let's see what it is. And oh my God, it is so terrible. At best, it's unintentionally funny, but most of the time, it's just a slog to sit through. Poorly directed, poorly written, poorly acted, with some of the worst songs that I've heard in a movie in, years. I wouldn't even know what to compare it to, honestly. It's a terrible film, but, and many, general audiences all seem to hate it. A lot of critics don't like it, certainly divided on it, mixed reception. But for whatever reason, the voting bodies of all these award shows, whether it be the Golden Globes, the Oscars, Critics' Choice, they all seem to be loving Emilia Pérez. I think, honestly, it's not for its artistic merit. I think they're nominated for sociopolitical reasons, warped sociopolitical reasons, in my opinion. But there's just been so much controversy surrounding the film, and you have so many members of the cast and crew just coming out and saying ridiculous stuff, just dumb stuff, or in this case, downright racist stuff. The director of Emilia Pérez, what the hell is this guy's name? Jacques Audiard, right? Who previously made ridiculous, stated like, yeah, I did no research on Mexican culture for the film. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of tell because like literally the first thing you see in Emilia Pérez is a glow-in-the-dark mariachi band. It's like, what's going on? What the hell is this? So that checks out. That checks out. But apparently, he's been, making the rounds, promoting the film, for the Oscar campaign and stuff, and trying to get more people to watch the movie. And he has come out with some, as his article says, some outlandish comments in regards to Spanish-speaking people, just the Spanish language. Let me read this, and I'll give you my full reaction. The crime musical Emilia Pérez has exceeded all expectations by claiming 13 nominations for this year's Oscars, the most of any film this year, which is crazy to me. It's like it's tying like notable films like The Lord of the Rings or Titanic. More awards than nominations than something like The Godfather from decades ago. It's crazy. The Spanish language picture is based on a 2018 novel, that follows a Mexican cartel leader who embarks on a project to disappear and transition into a woman. The director, Jacques Audiard, has been nominated for Best Director, inexplicably, at the Academy Awards, but he found himself in hot water in recent days of some bizarre comments causing a huge backlash in Mexico. Again. They should say, again. Spanish is a language of modest countries, of developing countries, of the poor and migrants, Audiard said in a recent interview. Given that the film is largely in Spanish, the timing of Audiard's comments is strange. Yeah, I would say so. Many of the cast members are first-language Spanish speakers, and the star Emilia Pérez, we'll talk about here in just a bit, Carla Sofia Gascon, could become the first Spaniard to win Best Actress at the Oscars. And they kind of go more into, the awards that Emilia Pérez has won, and has 13 Oscar nominations, everything from Best Picture to Best International Feature, Director, Actor. It's crazy. Adapted screenplay. That is, I don't think this is a hot take, but to describe Spanish as a language of the poors, that's pretty racist. I don't think that's very, progressive thinking, in my opinion, to like label a language. Really, he's just saying it's inferior. That's what he's saying right now. That's ridiculous. Like and people think, and some people, I shouldn't say all people, but some people, clearly the voting bodies of these awards show, are thinking that the sociopolitical messaging of Emilia Pérez is incredibly progressive, and it's a nice representation, apparently a loving representation of Latinos, specifically Mexicans, and people in the trans community, LGBTQ people. And you have the director coming out saying, yeah, but Spanish, it's like for the poors, right? That's incredible. That's absolutely bonkers. And the fact, if this, and then here's the thing, like if this movie ends up winning, because it's already nominated, it's nominated for all those awards, as we all know. But if this movie ends up winning, it's just gonna be so much egg on the faces of people that voted for it. You know, it's gonna make them just look like fools. It's gonna make them, and because they already are, look so out of touch with reality itself. I mean, he's wrong. He's absolutely wrong to say Spanish is the language of the poors and people of modest backgrounds. Like, that is just such a warped way thing. What do you guys think of this? What do you think of Jacques Audiard's comments on Spanish-speaking people and the language of Spanish itself? Utterly bonkers. How do you feel about this, guys? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I'm actually very curious to hear from Spanish-speaking people in my chat. I'm very curious to hear this. Oh, man. Let's see. What a dick. Krabby Texas. You know what? Very well put, Krabby. That man's a dick. I agree. I would even go as far as call him an asshole. I would say that, too. Oh, I saw the director, the photo of the director. He looks like, he wears an ascot. He wears a fucking ascot like all the time, even when he's like wearing a t-shirt. I'm just like, I can't trust a man that wears an ascot and a t-shirt. It's like, nah. That to me is like supreme pretentiousness. I can't take a man seriously. He's either a pretentious prick, which I think that's what he is, or he's a Bond villain. Yeah, I saw a photo of the, looks like a Bond villain. Let's see here. Bishop Sycamore, good to have you here. Just came in time. just abhorrent shit. Agreed. He's literally saying an entire country's language is beneath his own others. Yeah, it's what he's saying. He's calling the poor country. Yep. I mean, he was fucking right. He didn't do any research into Latinos or Mexican culture at all. Jesus Christ, clearly. I mean, that is, hey, I'll give him this. At least he was honest about it. At least he's very upfront with his racism. Holy hell. A lot of old people up in there saying, this is what the youth's like, isn't it? Man's a fool. No bueno. He's an asshole, says Slayer. Given I have a brain that's at least halfway functioning, I think this is fucking offensive and the people involved should not be allowed with a mild... Yeah, I do wonder. Has he made any statements after saying all this? Has there been a follow-up story? I'm going well, I didn't see anything. I was looking for something today, but I didn't see it. I know what I would call him. Yeah, what would you call him, Katrina? Pendejo. There we go. He's a pendejo, chat. That's a good one. Agreed. There you go. That's what they should just call the director from now on. Pendejo. That's just coming from a guy who doesn't like speaking his own language. When's the last time he's been punched in the mouth? Yeah. And he's not even trying to do any sort of gatekeeping for the Spanish community. This is just objectively foul. Yep. Hope you also saw the article of the main actor's old tweets that were done. Oh, yeah. No, we'll talk about that in just a bit. We'll get to that. That's gonna be a whole separate thing. Because this itself is like, ooh, there's a lot here. But yeah, I mean, saying a language is inferior to another language, I think, yeah, that is wrong. I think that's a pretty cold take, in my opinion. To say that it's from modest, which itself, it's like, what do you mean by that? Or poor countries. It's so ridiculous. It's downright disgusting. I mean, the guy's, he's really showing himself for what he is. Really, truly showing his ass. Really showing the ass of Emilia Pérez. It's downright terrible and shameful. And I think anyone that's, involved with this production, certainly him and those in his inner circle, should be ashamed and should make statements in regards to his recent comments. And again, I go back to this, the fact that some people are pushing this movie, and not a lot, clearly not a lot, like clearly the Latino community, Mexican community. I have gotten so many comments, and not just on my review, but so many other people's reviews and people publishing things and saying, like, this is not a representative of my country and my culture, or certainly when it comes to the trans community, LGBTQ community. People just with fucking good taste, like some people are just saying, like, this is not progressive. This is not what we want to see. But you have so many people that are just so warped in their views, just coming out and saying like, yes, this is exactly what we need right now. It's like, I disagree. I truly do. I think a lot of people, there's so much pushback. And the only people that seem in support of this film, at least in large numbers, are the voting bodies of these award shows. That's really it. And if they're going to die, for this, like, just be like, yeah, we're going to die on this hill for this film, it's just going to make them all look like fools. That's what it comes down to. What about you? Curious.